This is Touch, an interactive event here at the Science Museum's Dana Centre. Touch is the third event in our 5 Senses series funded by the Royal Academy of Engineering. We'll be exploring the latest in haptic technologies and devices being engineered for rehabilitation and communication. William Harwin works on cybernetics at the University of Reading. How does his multi-finger haptics and hand exercise system work?
In your virtual world, 2 dots. Those are your fingers. Well, they're not your fingers. Those are 2 dots. But those are going to be the representations of your fingers. Now, if you just drop your hands, you'll suddenly feel a force. Okay? Now, if you look down at your hands underneath, you'll see that your hands aren't actually touching anything. Okay?
It's quite an unusual sensation. It really is like a 3D sensation, and you can literally pick things up, stack them. It's like it's right in front of you. It's incredible.
David McGuckin explains how his Phantom Omni system helps people with visual impairment to understand graphs.
A 3D mouse, you hold that like a pen, and you're basically that magenta blob on the screen. So as you move left and right and up and down, it'll move around. You should be able to feel that bar. So you'll get to the top of it, you'll find you can't actually move any higher.
Correct,
it's stopping you. And also you shouldn't be able to move left and right because you're in the groove.
Yeah, so you have to go down to go to the next one.
No, you just have to come out. So it's 3-dimensional, so it's kind of like cut into a surface. So if you move back, you'll find you're floating free in space and you can move pretty much anywhere you want.
Patrick Landon from the Cambridge Engineering Design Centre asks a volunteer to test out his system and explains how this assists people with motion impairment.
So what it's like is like a ball on the end of a piece of elastic. And what's happening is that there are motors underneath there, and they're applying forces to the mouse that simulate the you can't lift it off, no, because it's being controlled by the motors underneath. People who have certain types of motion impairments, like cerebral palsy, for example, they have difficulties clicking on things.
Yeah, to pinpoint one particular.
And the main reason is because they tend to jerk, or they have tremor, for example, and they jerk around and they can't quite click. They keep missing it.
I've got one.
So you click on that one and you can chase them around. So what we did is we implemented a very large version of these around the places that we wanted people to click on. And then we discovered we got a great improvement with people with cerebral palsy.
Faustina Huang also engineers cybernetics, but at the University of Reading. She works with Patrick to develop the device being put to the test by an audience member.
So what I'm trying to use your sense of body movement to make interactions with computers a little bit more easy and more intuitive, possibly more efficient. And in addition, for people with communication difficulties, that if we can use gestures as a way of communicating, that maybe we can open up new possibilities in that direction.
Stephen Brewster has developed tactile displays for mobile devices.
So the idea behind this one is to try and see the different types of tactile feedback we can make. And the different things we can manipulate to give you different messages. So in here we've got different roughnesses, so you might have a smooth type of feedback or a rough one, and then these also have different rhythms. So the first 3 have one rhythm, the second 3 have another. So as you sweep across the screen on this one, for example, then you get a stereo pan effect as you move from left to right. The vibration moves from left to right across your hands.
Andrew Crowson helps the audience to understand how tactile displays are being developed through playing maze games.
It's amazing. When you look at the setup before you actually start to interact with it, you don't actually really engage and know what it's about. But as soon as you start to feel the movement, it's wonderful. It's actually quite enlightening to know how you can suggest form from something like touch. So, yeah, it's quite amazing.
William Harwin is asking the audience to try out his haptic torch to find out how this can assist the visually impaired.
But every time I got close to something, it moved, which was cool. So it actually was doing what it was supposed to do. That was exciting.